There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Oh, what's up, and welcome into episode number 115 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Perez, joined with you as always by Patrick Kurtzberger, Ryan Tyson, Matt Gann. No Mark Hall this week. Today is Thursday, March 28th. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can help us out, cost you $0 to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching right now, high chance that you're not subscribed. Go ahead and click that button. It's absolutely free. Helps us out more than you know. You can follow us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a Z. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff as well. Program Guys podcast. Gentlemen, how we living? Got to see all your beautiful faces this weekend. It was a grand old time. We had a great time.
Lovely.
It was so much fun. Good to see you all back. How's everyone recovering? Patrick, you said you were struggling to recover?
I was. I don't know what happened. It was very strange. I think I was just so on a high from seeing you guys. And when I got back, I was so low.
Yeah, I know. I feel that.
You had to say goodbye to us.
There's definitely a hangover from the guys, for sure.
Yeah.
Matt Gann, did you miss us? Do you miss us already?
Every single day. Every day without the boys is a day that I
Okay.
miss you guys even more. And even though I'm making $1 a week, it's not enough to see who I truly want. That's all of you guys. And as you're well noticed, if you're on YouTube right now, you probably don't see our good friend Mark, and you won't see him for a couple weeks. And
That's right.
it's a blessing and a curse.
We're trying something different. We're just not gonna have Mark on and see how the numbers do. I'm just kidding.
We're just going to be the fastest podcast in the entire world. And he knows it. He's listening.
He knows.
I hope you enjoying your 30-minute train layover
Yeah,
wherever you are. Mark.
We love you, brother. We miss you. Ryan, how you living? You good, brother?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I was about to interrupt Gann and say that, he gets to see his Norman Bros the next 2 weekends. So I bet he's really excited about that, much more than he gets to when he sees us, because he likes them better.
That's
But
true.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm a little tired this week, but it's the weather's nice. So
See,
I've been outside a lot.
We're getting
it's been good.
Getting BS. It snowed in Oklahoma City today.
I saw that. I saw that. That's weird.
It's been cold in Tulsa the past couple of days, and the rest of the week's supposed to be nice. But not fun to come back to Tulsa, and it was like 30 degrees and windy and just not a good time. But
yeah,
spring in Oklahoma, baby. That's what you get. Truly.
Never know what the weather's gonna do.
No, never ever. All right, we're gonna start off the show with some Circle the Wagons. We got a lot of OU news to get to, especially on the football front, but we're going to let Matt go ahead and get us started here, get us in, because we have some important stuff to go over in terms of a team still in the NCAA tournament, Matt Gann.
We're in the NCAA tournament, but to give you an
my bad. No. Sorry. Yeah. My bad.
That's okay, Mason. Let me get you caught up.
Close.
Yeah, let me get you caught up to speed with OU women's basketball, who did make the big dance, and they started out with as the number 5 seed against number 12 Florida Gulf Coast, who Tyson mentioned on I believe the last podcast. They're known coming in as a number 12 seed and really upsetting a couple teams the last few years. And they really had a good opportunity to do this. Not sure if anyone else watched it, but OU women were down 15 points in the first quarter. And there's 4. The first quarter, they were down 15 points, a lot of bad turnovers, couldn't shoot the ball well. They ended up coming back, winning 73-70 to move on to the second round against a very good number 4 seed Indiana, who obviously was playing at home, because in the women's tournament, the first 2 games are in that specific region or at their home base.
How do we feel about that?
I'm cool with it.
I'm cool with it.
I like
seems
it.
like
an
electric environment.
Yeah.
Like both of the girls' games that I watched, I was like, oh, they filled this bad boy up, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So
I like it way more. I get why they have to do it for the men, like at a neutral side or whatever, just because that's the way it works. But for the women, I like it a lot, just because for sure you're gonna sell tickets and you're gonna get people there to watch the home team. Like that. That's cool.
Yeah, and to Indiana's credit, they filled out that stadium. I actually saw a stat from Indiana's head coach who took over almost about 10 years ago, and she slowly has just increased the overall audience participation year by year. And now they got about 10,000 on average going to
It's
Indiana
awesome.
games. And they definitely showed up for this game. It was absolutely electric, to Ryan's point. Again, huge home court advantage, which I think really
Huge.
played to their advantage in this game. Sooners had 11 turnovers to 4, shot 4 from 25 from 3. And I think this is really where the home cooking came in place. Only 13 free throw attempts to Indiana's 29.
Oof.
If that's not home cooking, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but you just can't turn the ball over, especially in a road game like that, and only shooting 4 from 25 and only losing 75-68. I mean, they were in this
It was
game
a lot
all the way
closer than
up.
that the entire time.
Right, all the way up until the very end, but they did let All-American Mackenzie Holmes go 12 for 23, 29 points and 6 rebounds. I mean, she was absolutely unstoppable in the post. There's a good reason so. She is huge and very good footwork, but they didn't really do a lot of doubling on her, which I thought was a really big fault by Jenny B. One thing that she's known for, Jenny B, is really having a lot of depth and rotating a lot of players, getting a lot of people's minutes, but not really doubling on All-American in the post. Kind of shook heads, but want to get the guys' thoughts on Jenny B's season, the Oklahoma Sooners women losing obviously in the second round. Thoughts on how the season went?
I'm happy with it. I said before they started that they needed a win for it to be like a successful season. They needed at least a win in the NCAA tournament, and they got one, and I'm going to stick with it. I think Jenny's building a good program and building it the right way. I'm excited to see what the future is.
Yeah, I agree. I think the trajectory is going up, 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 up every year since she's been here. The one thing that I did notice the most in this game, because I did watch this game against Indiana, and they turned the ball over just vital points in the game. Like the last minute, they had 2 turnovers, like right at the end, right when everything was in it. Like they just need to clean that up a little bit. They just need to play a bit cleaner. And I think like that comes with time and that comes with, experience and all of those things. So I think they're going to be good, and I'm excited to see where they go from here.
Couldn't agree more. I think you guys summed it up super well.
Great insights, Patrick. We appreciate that. Definitely think it was a successful season overall, especially what Jenny B has done the past 3 seasons, coming in and really establishing a very consistent program, winning multiple games, Big 12 championships, getting to the tournament. You just want to see them go a little bit further. Even though last year, when they got rid of 3 players who really were the sum of OU history when it comes to scoring, rebounding, and a lot of awards. So to be able to replace those players in 1 year, definitely a successful year overall, and obviously wish them best heading into next year. Moving on to softball, another dominant program, 31-9, 9-0 in conference play, currently on that 13-game winning streak. Beat UT Arlington 12-1 and 5, and then they swept Ryan T's Baylor Bears 8-1, 12-3, and 7-4 this past weekend. They will compete a 3-game series against KU in Lawrence, and I believe KU is ranked number 24th based on the last polls, if anyone wants to double check me on that. Moving to the other diamond, OU baseball continuing to play pretty well, 15-9, 7-2 in conference play. They did lose their revenge game against Dallas Baptist, losing 0-6. Insider Heil did let me know that Skip Johnson does have a particular way he approaches these Tuesday games. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, and it was the first time hearing it over this past weekend, but all Tuesday games are non-conference games. Wasn't sure if anyone knew that.
So
Why?
So I did know that because of when I covered college baseball. It's the way that it works because you play series against your conference opponents. So those can't be midweek games. So to avoid just playing on the weekend and getting work in the middle of the week, you play those non-conference opponents because they're not playing their conference opponents during the middle of the week as well. That's why it works out that way. So like when I worked in Georgia and covered Mercer, like Mercer played the University of Georgia, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State, local, you try to play like local sort of teams midweek, like Oral Roberts. Like I think OU's played Oral Roberts this
That's why
year.
we're always playing Dallas Baptist and losing.
Yes, exactly. Like that. So just it's a way to get some more work and get more reps in and not just play your games on the weekend and play weekend series. So you get more games.
Yeah. And so what Heil has told me is that Skip Johnson usually takes a little bit more chances with his roster on these out of conference games, which makes sense in my mind now of one of the games that we went to, which was Dallas Baptist, and he threw in a freshman pitcher who did not last that long. But these are the opportunities to see what you got. You have a roster full of guys, and you're really not going to know what you get unless you put them out there in the field, especially losing Spikerman in center field. You just have to understand what rotation and what depth that you have. So it makes a lot of sense why maybe they don't always show up on these Tuesday games. You would like them to win more of these, but it makes a lot more sense why he takes more of these chances versus in conference play. They did really recently lose a series to West Virginia this past weekend, losing 2 out of the 3. They won the first game 13-0, looked very promising, and then lost back-to-back games 9-5 and 3-8 or 8-3. So hopefully they can bounce back against ORU, who they do play this next Tuesday, and then a 3-game series against Lamar next weekend. OU's women's gym, let's get into it, guys. I don't know if you've been watching. I've been seeing snippets of it, but for the 15th and final time, the Sooners are Big 12 champions. I don't know what more you can say of how purely dominant this team and KJ Kindler has done.
Jordan Bowers is crazy.
Yeah, Jim U, baby.
Absolutely nuts.
Jim U.
Jim U, it's not even close. They did set a NCAA record with the highest net qualifying score of 198.95, which is something I mentioned to you guys, I think a little over a month ago, that they were on pace, and they continued that pace. And it is absolutely incredible. They set a lot of records in the Big 12 tournament as well. And just to show you the dominance, I had to take a picture of this, but they had the most 10s in one meet in OU history during the Big 12. Jordan Bowers became the first OU gymnast with 3 in one meet.
Right.
Reagan Smith now has 10 perfect scores on beam, and Faith Torres is the only 6 OU gym to earn a perfect 10 on floor. They earned a team gym slam with a 10 on every single event.
Crazy.
Not sure how much dominant you can be in one weekend, but that win solidifying their place as the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They go to regionals first, where they will play NC State, Ohio State, and then Illinois or Ball State, who will get the final play-in spot. But just to go over some quick awards, KJ Kindler wins her 13th Big 12 Coach of the Year.
Crazy.
Jordan Bowers, who Ryan just mentioned, wins Big 12 Champion or Gymnast of the Year, as long as or with some other awards with Faith Torres and Reagan Smith. I don't know how this team is going to be stopped unless they stop themselves at this point. It looks like they're going for another consecutive title. So good luck to OU's women's gymnasts.
Do we know if any of these gymnasts will be in the Olympics this summer? Or is that different? Or is that like a separate thing?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. I would have to look into to see if they're eligible or what their qualifications are. But Ryan, if you want to do that in background, that will be great. Moving on to the last 2 sports, there's no update for men's gym as they do qualifying April 6th, so no update until then. Men's tennis, 14-2 on a 7-game win streak. They recently beat Texas Tech and BYU 7-0, 4-2, and they will continue Big 12 conference play against UCF and A&M this weekend. Women's tennis, 10-5, 5-2 in conference. They recently beat Kansas State, but did lose to number 1 Oklahoma State 4-1. They will look to bounce back against Kansas and BYU. So a lot of good updates from a lot of different programs. Please comment below if I'm missing anything that you guys want to talk about from anything I mentioned today. Feel free to let me know what I missed, but that is Circle the Waganns.
Love it. Thank you, Matt. A lot of spring sports to get to. All right, spring practice underway for the Sooners. We've been getting a lot of videos out from a lot of people who've been attending practice. Media certain portions of practice have been open to the media. I was just looking at some videos from today, courtesy of George Stoya, and anything of spring practice so far kind of stick out to you guys? For me, I just saw a couple videos of Daniel Akinkumi blocking David Stone, and that's a really cool matchup because David Stone's just huge and powerful, and Akinkumi really kind of anchored pretty well and didn't get bull rushed. I mean, it's pretty hard for one-on-ones like that for the offensive line. That's really a hard drill for offensive line to win if you've like ever heard offensive linemen talk about that. But Heath Ozeta, another one I saw, just absolutely burying Grayson Halton, and that was really cool to see. I really like what I think we're going to get out of the offensive line next year. I'm pretty fired up about it because I think they're going to develop pretty well together. And I would go ahead and pencil in Heath Ozeta for a guy who we'll be seeing a lot. I think he's going to get a lot of burn. I'm not saying maybe he's not starting day one, but we know how Beatenball likes to rotate guys, and he may be a guy who gets a lot of rotation early on. That's kind of my big takeaway from practice so far.
Two things for me. Also, Curtis, George Stoya from his Twitter as he was live feeding some things. First was what BV was doing at practice today. Typically, when we see videos of BV at these practices, he's always working with the inside linebackers. Well, duh, that's exactly what his bread and butter is. But according to George Stoya, it was really Zach Alley being the one with a lot of the defensive group. BV was really roaming around more to the other position groups. But Zach Alley wasn't just one position group. He was the entire D-line, linebacker, safety, cornerbacks. So it really seems like Zach Alley, obviously new defensive coordinator coming in, going to have a huge prominent role. Will he be doing the play calling? That will be one thing. But to see him so involved so early on, I think says a lot about this BV hire. But we'll have to see how the roles are going to be divided, especially heading into the SEC, where defensive play calling is going to be absolutely monster when playing against these high power offenses. So it'll be really interesting to see where Zach Alley fits into all of this.
Yeah, I think it's so important for Brent to shift more to like a overseer role and away from spending his practice time with the inside linebackers. Like, I think what you just pointed out, Matt, is huge. It's so important for Brent in his development as he continues to develop into the head coach that we know he can be and that he will be, in my opinion. But yeah, Zach Alley coming in and basically hopping around like that, and Brent kind of just moving around and not sticking with the inside linebackers. That's really encouraging for me.
I think for me, hopping over to the offensive side, all the optimism coming out of everyone who's seen the tight ends and what's happening with the tight ends, especially Devon Mitchell. We knew he was going to be a kind of a freak, but I think that all of everything that I've seen at least is like, oh yeah, this dude's for real. He's going to be great. And I mean, all of us, I think, were critics of how the tight end room was utilized last year. So I'm excited to see how they're going to work that into this new offense, and how that is going to be deployed. And it sounds like we have the guys and the right bodies to be able to do that. So I'm excited to see that as it starts to develop more and more.
Totally agree. Davin Mitchell does not look like he weighs 245 pounds, and that is a positive thing, in my opinion. Like, he looks lean, fast, strong. He's going to be a hard guy to tackle, good hands. Cannot wait to see him. Biggest thing that stands out to me, Javonte Barnes saying he finally feels healthy, that he was not healthy last season.
Mm-hmm.
It's really huge, in my opinion, last year, having 5 starting running backs and not really having a clear, definitive running back or even number 2 for the majority of the season was not good for our offense. I think hopefully with a healthy Barnes, you'll have a Gavin Sawchuk clear number 1, hopefully a Javonte Barnes clear number 2, and then Taylor Tatum getting those third snaps. That's my hope with Barnes being healthy. I hope that's how it goes.
Caleb Hicks looks like a grown man, by the way.
I can't forget about him. So.
That
He
dude,
He did.
yeah, he looks like a grown man. But one more thing I wanted to hit on from spring practice is those new incoming defensive linemen, those freshmen, namely Nigel Smith, David Stone, Jay Naxon Jackson. Those are just a couple guys I've seen videos of today. Oh man. Like, I'm not telling you this year, but like, give these guys some time. They're going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem.
We're going to need them this year.
I know. You're right. I know you're right. You're 100% right.
Not to put like any pressure on them, but I know they're probably feeling it already. But they did look good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anything overall before we move into Jackson Arnold and kind of what he had to say, Matt?
Yeah, sticking with the defensive line, man, I think it's a really good mix of veterans with a lot of new guys, like you mentioned. Mason, you got Caden Woolard, who Chavis has been really high on the transfer from Miami, Ohio, but you got Deshaun Terry, Devon Sears, some of these guys that are returning to that defensive line. So that's going to be a very competitive depth, as BB likes to always say. That's going to be a very fun group to watch. But we know in the SEC, if you can't get the quarterback, they are going to absolutely rip your defense apart. I feel okay about the linebackers and the secondary, but that defensive line has to create a lot of pressure. I think there's going to be a good mix of a lot of these guys that we're going to see in rotation, just like BB has used in the past, but now he's got just a lot of athletic young dudes that he can mix in there as well. It's going to be a very fun time for that defensive line as they get after opposing offensive lines. Switching back to the offense, man, Jackson Arnold, I know we're about to get to him in a second, but his wide receiver core is going to be electric.
They're going to be fun.
We already have guys like Jaleel. I want to see some more Jacquees Padaway, who didn't give a lot of run last year, but guys like Nick Anderson.
I hear Padaway's looking good in practice, man.
Yeah.
I hear he's looking good.
Yep, and the transfer from Purdue, who's just got lightning speed, to Deion Burks, a lot of good things out of him. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of problems as long as the offensive line can hold up just enough. I mean, that wide receiver room is going to be very hard to stop, and hopefully the tight end room. Caden Helms still dealing with injuries, but Devon Mitchell is a min amongst boys. I mean, he looks just like a beast out there. So hopefully all these pieces can come together, because Jackson Arnold definitely has a lot of weapons at his disposal.
Caden Helms spoke to reporters after practice today, that's Wednesday night, and said that he's still pretty banged up. He's practicing, but he's not full go just yet. Still, he's in the process of trying to still get 100% back, but he's feeling okay. So that's good. Hopefully he continues to progress the way that he needs to, because he's a guy I'm sure we'd like to see on the field at some point. Anybody else? Anything before we move to Jackson Arnold?
Jackson, baby.
Jackson. The other Action Jackson. Is that fair, Pat? Can I call him that?
Yeah. I thought we
got
had a name
two.
for him.
JK. Well,
No.
he was.
Wow.
Or no, not JK.
No, Mark has a name for the offense.
We
the
had
Jack
a bigger-
offense.
Came up
Jack
with like
offense.
a PG version recently. That was quite good. I'll have to
No,
go
it's
back
just
about
the-
it.
brain.
It's just the Jack offense, baby.
Yeah, just the Jack offense. That's all it is. So he spoke to reporters. What day was this? Was it Tuesday?
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday. He
Yeah.
spoke to reporters
was
after
Tuesday.
practice. Kind of one of the first times we've heard from him in a while. He said that he really enjoyed DG and liked playing with DG, but it is not fun to be a backup. Of course, like no one's going to enjoy being a backup, right? Glad he's getting to start now, but he has some goals for the spring. He said, just making my decisions quicker, so I'm not holding the ball too long. That's something we definitely saw in the bowl game. I think that affected him as well. That led to some interceptions, that led to some mistakes. So I think I'm glad that he recognized that, and I'm sure he's had a bunch of talks with the new offensive staff about how to improve that way as well. Anything to add there?
He was just so nice about the DG thing. He was like, "That's
Yeah.
my dude. That's my guy." I think that's what he said. But like the big asterisk is like, I didn't really like sitting on the sideline, which of course he's like,
Yeah.
I think he said something along the lines of like, I just like would rather like be out there and like supporting the team and like helping the team like get the victories and all that kind of stuff. Love the quote about making decisions quicker. sounds like he's very self-aware, which we need. So
Yeah.
that's good news. I I think that's also helpful because we still have kind of that question mark. I know, Mason, you're feeling good about the offensive line, but I still don't know how I'm feeling about them. So it seems like we have all the weapons around them, but the big question mark remains, is he going to have time? It sounds like he's trying to take that out of the equation a little bit.
Bingo.
So which is smart. Like that's exactly what he needs to do. So if he doesn't know if he's gonna have the time, he's got to assume that he's not gonna have it. So I like it. I like all the comments. He seems self-aware. I'm hoping that he goes into this next year a little bit more experienced and a little bit more calm than the bowl game. And hopefully this spring practice will help with that.
I agree with you there, Matt.
I think this OU team is only going to go as far as the Jack offense will take us. I mean, he is the helm, and everything goes between the guy that has his hands on the ball every single play. And he's really grown into, I mean, he's all of 6'1, 212 pounds. And obviously, he's got that dual threat ability that we did see a little bit of the bowl game. I think there'll be a little bit more times where he'll maybe tuck it and run when opportunities arise. But having a first big bowl game like that, you're not just going to see all the tools. I think we definitely saw some good foundational pieces that he is capable of, and obviously why he was one of the top recruits in the nation. But heading into the SEC, playing top tens or top teams every single week, it's all about consistency, getting the ball out of your hands, and keep on jacking off this offense all the way down the field. So I think this team is going to win and really lose by the way Jackson Arnold can handle all these offensive weapons at his disposal.
Pat?
No one had any reaction to that comment by Matt right there.
Yeah, it was super aggressive.
Patrick's face didn't even change. It
Yeah,
was just
super
like
aggressive.
In honor of Mark and the Jack offense, I had to do it for him, you know?
The first 4 games are going to be super key for Jackson before that Tennessee game. It's really good that he's going to get those few games before we play Tennessee. But in all honesty, honestly, oh my God, I cannot talk today.
You cannot, but that's okay. Hey, keep
pulling
going
again.
In
You're
all
pulling
Yeah,
again.
pulling a Matt.
honesty,
Hey, what does that mean?
You know
in
what that
all
means.
honesty, I've been watching these highlight reels so carefully of Jackson Arnold. More
grinding
careful than
tape.
anyone else. Every single one of them. Slow-mo. He looks so good. I think we might win the Natty.
I love it.
Here we go.
I love
I
it.
thought
No,
I
this
thought
is
you
the
were
time
gonna
of-
zag. I
Nah,
thought you were gonna
Wait,
go the other way.
where's your bucket hat? Is this
No,
something, I
it's
guess?
not even a hot take, dude. I've just been watching the reels and
Watching
what
the
an arm.
reels.
I'm with you, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's he looks really good. He if there was an award for looking the part, it'd be him.
Yeah,
Like,
he wins the preseason award for looking the part.
Hey,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
All
he
I want to
does.
say is I believe it was last spring that was it Peyton Bowen that we were like, he looks the part.
Mhm.
And he's really good.
Yeah,
And he was really good last year.
I think you're right.
So fingers crossed on looking the part translates to solid play in the fall.
I'm looking forward to the spring game, obviously because I want to see the football team on the field, but I'm also looking forward because we're going to see Jackson Arnold play. I want to see how quick his mind is like made up on some of this stuff, how quick that process is, just because the college game is so much faster. And that's something that he has to adjust to. I'm curious to see what it looks like after, his first full year in college, been here for a full year. Let's see what it looks like. I'm interested to see that. Anybody else, anything else before we move on to our MVPs of the week? Perfect. PGP MVP of the week time. Let us know down below in the comments who's your MVP of the week as well. Patrick, who's your MVP, man?
Yeah, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, guys.
Oh,
And
okay.
Mason, I talked to you a little bit about this too, but the German national soccer team,
There it is.
they might be winning my hearts back a little bit.
Oh no.
Yeah, they handedly beat France 2-0, easily beat the Dutch 2-1. I don't know. Could win it all. Could break my heart again.
Man, when's is the Euros,
The
Euro
summer,
finals
Euros
like
and Olympics.
it's
Or both
in
this summer?
this summer? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the Olympics are only what, 24 and under? Is it 21 and under?
Oh,
Usually?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can pick three older players. So like,
Oh, okay.
I don't
Senior
know,
players. Yeah,
the
senior
31-year-old who wants to have
Gotcha.
some
I
fun.
see. I didn't even know that rule. I didn't even know that
Yeah.
was a thing. Okay.
But women's
Cool.
is different. Women's is
There you go.
everybody's there.
Gotcha.
So definitely want that means more. Just say that.
Okay. Cool beans. Ryan, who's your MVP, man?
Dude, I'm looking right now. I'm trying to find somebody.
It doesn't even have to be a person. It could be a thing. It can be a place.
Thing.
There are no
It could be a
rules.
place. You know what? It's the place is this past weekend with you guys. I had
Oh,
so
how
much
nice.
fun. It was so good to see you
Wildland.
guys. Well, maybe not, but it was really nice to be all in the same place with each other. And we get to do it again soon.
Very soon.
So
It's gonna be sick.
I'm incredibly excited about that too. So
Yeah.
because I'm not prepared for my MVP, that is my MVP for the week.
Love that. Matt, who's your MVP, man?
Yeah, I'll go baseball almost opening day. The Texas
Oh,
Rangers,
yeah.
my Texas Rangers,
Here
Shut
we go.
up.
hosting the first game of the new season. They actually didn't even re-sign one of their starting pitchers, Jordan Montgomery, who signed a 2-year or a 1-year deal to the Diamondbacks. So I'm not sure what pitching the Rangers are going to put forth this upcoming season, but they are the reigning champs. They're my Texas Rangers. Let's go some opening day here shortly, and the solar eclipse next week. Everyone, make sure to put on your glasses for that event.
It's not next
Maybe
week.
it's 2 weeks.
Not next week.
Well, I'll make it
Saved it.
I'll make it
Could've
my
saved it.
MVP for my eyeballs during that week.
During next week.
Mm-hmm.
Week after.
I already got my glasses. I'm ready to go.
Okay, my LVP of the
Ooh,
week.
we love an LVP.
P. Diddy, Puff Daddy,
Oh no.
whatever you call
Tough
him.
luck.
Whatever you call him, just make sure
That's
you call him
tough.
the criminal, folks. The dude is on the run. His house got raided. I don't even know exactly what they're charging him with, or even if he's under arrest at this point. All I know is they don't raid innocent people's houses usually. That's the kind of vibe that I get. And there's a lot of stuff coming out about a lot of people who are friends with Diddy. And this may just be the tip of the iceberg. May start getting a little weird. And I wish Mark was here for this part of it, because he would definitely add something to this for sure.
Yeah.
But
I
Petal
just hope
would
they all go to jail.
What'd you say, Pat?
I hope they all go to jail.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I think it was like a sex ring or
sex trafficking.
sex trafficking.
Yeah.
God,
Wild
dude.
stuff. Wild
There was
stuff.
Unreal.
there was other stuff too.
There's always other stuff. He has
Always.
a Syracuse drug mule, former Syracuse basketball player who's a drug mule, allegedly. I'm gonna get
Nuts.
ahead of that. Allegedly.
Keep just saying allegedly.
Yeah, dude, it's a mess. But that's my LVP of the week. Let us know down below in the comments who your MVP or your LVP of the week is. Gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode. Episode 115 is in the books. Be sure to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a D. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Be sure to subscribe, like us, leave us a five-star review, all of that good stuff. Gentlemen, that's going to do it. We'll see you next week. Pat, take us out, brother.
Keep pushing it, baby.
3, 2, 1.